Hello you guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is a very exciting day because we are finally doing the second part of the three-part series of the houseplant / indoor plant tour. If you haven't seen the first part yet, wherein I showed you guys my living room plants, that is where I have the bulk of my plants, and that is also where I do most of my recording. Make sure to click the link to the video. I will put it somewhere in one of these corners. Go ahead and click it. If you have already seen it, then welcome back. I hope you're excited because today I am going to show you all my kitchen and my office plants. In the third part, I'm going to show you guys the bedroom and the porch plants. So I hope you guys are excited for this video and looking forward to the next. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any other future videos that I post. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Alrighty, so we are going to start off in this nook right over here, beginning with this shark fin snake plant, or the whale fin snake plant, whichever floats your boat. It is Sansevieria variety, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I did do a video wherein I hauled this plant to begin with, and it has since done amazingly well. No issues with it. I do still have it in its plastic tub, however, I don't want to disrupt any potential baby roots that are going on in there, so I just put the plastic pot inside of a more decorative container so that it's not just like, hey girl, nice plastic pot on your container. I don't know why I gave myself a southern accent, but hey, we're gonna go with it. Next over here, I have a Dracaena variety. I kind of put him here by accident, actually. This was the first ever kitchen plant that I had in here. I came home from the nursery, put it on the counter, and it kind of just fit, I feel like. And this plant also, as you can tell, is in its plastic tub. I do sometimes do that for plants that might just be kind of cut off and stuck into their soil because I don't want to disrupt the new roots that are coming in. And then in the very back over here, you can tell that I have my little water pitcher. I do kind of usually hide my spray bottle or my water pitcher in the corner behind this one just so that it's easy for me to grab, but not completely visible to everybody who's coming on over. Over here, I have one of my favorite things in my kitchen, which are these two funky little pink and green stones because I love me the alien watermelon color combo, but most importantly, I have these two really amazing succulents. I did get these, oh gosh, where did I get them? Let me think for a sec. Oh, that's right. I got this guy over at a succulent fair that I did a haul and video on. He's not doing super well. He looks kind of like he's drying out and wrinkling. I did just water him yesterday. But he is, despite that, springing out a new leaf, which is interesting. But I'm keeping a close eye on him and trying to get him back to full steam. This guy right here is a variegated string of hearts, which is such a popular and such a beautiful plant. I do have a larger version of this plant outside in the backyard, but I did propagate, I guess, one section of it to put inside just to see how it would fare, and also because I love it so much that I want to see it. And ever since it has come inside, it has sprouted out not only that new green leaf right there, but if you kind of focus at the little tip, you can kind of see another little bud forming. If you squint and hope and pray, you might see it. It is beautiful, and I'm so excited. It is doing fantastically well indoors. Over here, I have a Miltonia orchid, which is one of the more fragrant varieties of orchids. It's doing really wonderfully inside, and it gives off a very subtle but very pleasant scent. Now we are going to move on over here. Hello, sink. And we are going to start off with the aloe in this section. I love aloe. It is such an easy and fantastically beneficial plant to have in your house. I think everybody who has a house plant should also have an aloe because of how great it is for your skin and because of how easy it is to take care of. You can tell that I have a little ring on this one because I liked it so much I had to put a ring on it. No, but really that jade ring is one of my favorites, but it is too large for my fingers, so the aloe is now getting to sport it. I recently did a video with this aloe actually. It is one of the easy starter plants that I listed in my suggestion video, so if you want to see that, I will make sure to link to it for you guys also, but it is fantastic, and I usually have him a little bit fuller, but the mister went outside in the sun a while ago, turned into a lobster. Long story short, it lost a lot of its leaves, but is not going into shock or anything detrimental because of its use. So that's great. Moving on over here, I have a blue star fern. He's doing surprisingly well, despite the fact that I have basically half of the jar filled up kind of with loose little pebbles and the other half of the jar filled up with a soil. I did that because I really loved this pot. I thought it would look great in the kitchen. I thought that it would look great with the plant, but it didn't have a drainage hole, and it was such a thin, I don't even know what, I guess ceramic material that I was afraid to drill a hole in it. So if you have a situation similar to that wherein you have a pot that you want to use, but you can't drill a hole in it, you might consider using that pebble method that I described earlier. However, I personally don't fully recommend it, even though this plant is thriving and has sprouted out new leaves and has survived for many months like this. It does make me a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, just because it can be more prone to root rot. It might not be able to drain as well at all as a plant would like to be draining. So even though I like this one, honestly, I think to clear my conscience, I probably will repot him. But that is a method, alternatively, if you want to try it out for perhaps a couple months to see if it will go well for your plant. Moving over here, we have a marble peperomia, and what a beautiful peperomia it is indeed. This stalk right here, kind of the shorter one, I just recently am trying to propagate / rescue him because he did get a case of root rot. The other stalks are doing amazingly well. It's all thriving, but this little guy for some reason just couldn't handle it, and so he became kind of soggy on its lower end, but it is a beautiful variety of peperomia, and I am so glad to have it in here. He loves this kind of lighting condition wherein it's kind of filtered bright light. Because I do have a sunroof in my kitchen, it helps give him that lighting that he likes. And then moving over here, I have a Bentel snake plant, which is one of my favorite snake plant varieties. I think it is so beautiful how the white creaminess kind of blends in with that deep forest green. It's pretty gorgeous. It's doing amazingly well. I haven't had any single problem with it. And yeah, easy to care for. Very simple, no pests, love it, and I think it looks pretty darn striking as well. Alrighty, moving on to the next part of the kitchen. We are going to start off with the stove, and I know you're probably thinking, Erica, that's a plastic pot. Earlier you were saying that you put the snake plant in there to avoid the plastic pot, and that is true. However, as you can tell, this little silver pothos is atop of my vent fan, and I didn't want anything heavy at all, just because I'm not trying to cause damage to it, and luckily this little tiny guy is quite light and will not do that. But that is a silver pothos. It's doing amazing, so beautiful. I love the metallic-y silver coloring on its leaves. Let's see if I can kind of get any of that. But you can kind of tell that the leaves have these like little silver speckles on them, which is really, really gorgeous, and I love that aspect of it, and I thought it played nicely with the silver appliances that I have. Over here, I have some cute little drawings. There's one of Mr. Indy. He is over here staring at this adorable little squirrel. And Miss Ruby, who is licking her chompers for that poor little guy. So hopefully that squirrel can outrun my two very fast pups. Now this is one of my new calatheas. This is a prayer plant variety. This is the dotty one. It has that beautiful strawberry pink piping on it, and I was fascinated by it. I love seeing pink and green mixed together. I think it looks gorgeous. And then as you can kind of tell on that new leaf that's sprouting out, the underside is purple, which is pretty much a trademark of most, if not all, prayer plant varieties. I haven't had any issues caring for this plant yet or with any other prayer plant, but I do hear that some people struggle with them. My suggestion, I guess, is to make sure the soil is always hydrated. It really does not like to dry out excessively. So if that is something that you are prone to doing, which is, kind of forgetting to water your plants or, letting the soil get too dry, then perhaps the calathea is not the best variety for you. But the snake plant, however, would love you. Moving over here, I have, I think it's a hypothesis or something along that line, but it is just a pink little speckly plant. I recently was gifted it for my birthday, and it is doing very happily. Moving on to the final section of plants within my kitchen, you can see that I have some bananas ready to be made into banana bread or yummy smoothies, as well as a peperomia trailing variety, which is so beautiful. I got very lucky and found it at a local hardware store of mine many months ago. I had never seen it before, but it has just thrived in this section. I have to water it very little, and it just keeps growing and reaching up for that light. Next to it, I have one of my other newest prayer plant varieties. This is a Calathea ornata, and it has that beautiful baby pink striping on each of the leaves, which is so fun. It looks kind of like somebody took a paintbrush and striped it with some baby pink paint. It is beautiful. Over here, I have a succulent that I got from a local plant show many months ago. I did do a video on it, and I will link to it for you guys in case you are interested. But I recently repotted him, moved him inside. It was previously outside in my greenhouse, and ever since I moved him in here, he has sprouted out some new leaves. It has done wonderfully well, and a lot of people also visually just love to see it because it is such a unique looking succulent. Hello! Over here, we have a string of pearls. This is the non-variegated variety. This is the most common one that you probably all see. It really loves to be indoors. I did just mist it yesterday. It's doing pretty well, but I find string of pearls to be a bit finicky in general and a little bit harder to take care of because they seem, well, a bit finicky. It's like one day they're soggy and like wondering why you overwatered it, and then the next day it's shriveled up and drying. So let me know if you guys have issues like that with your string of pearls and if you can offer me any solutions. And over here, I have the last of my kitchen plants, which is this Roeo/oyster plant tricolor. It is a beautiful one that I recently got up in Santa Cruz, and I loved the purple undersides, the kind of rubbery feel to the leaves, and the lilac-y variegation overall on the top front of the leaves, and a watermelon that I plan to cut up later today for the pups and I. So those are all the kitchen plants that I have. Now we're headed over to the office to see all the plants that live in there. So in the office, I have most of the plants located either on the windowsill or somewhere very close by it. For that purpose, I really hope you guys are able to see them, even though the light in the back is of course very bright. I will try my very best so that you can see each of them clearly. So over here we have a snake plant variety. This is the cylindrica. It's typically sold as a braided design. I got mine back in February. One of the 3 stems got a very bad case of root rot, and so I had to remove it very unfortunately. So now it kind of looks like a funky little peace sign, I guess, or 2 worms hugging, or I don't know, whatever. But the other strands are doing well, even though it has not produced any new leaves. Moving on, next to it, I have a Black Queen Anthurium. This is another plant that has not produced any flowers since I have brought it home, but it is gorgeous, and I loved it so much that I actually painted this pot specifically for it because the flowers were such a beautiful, very deep, burgundy, purpley, inky black color, and I thought it was gorgeous. And so when it is in bloom, this pot does match it very well, but until then, it's just a sad reminder that there's no flowers on it. Next to that, I have one of my favorite zebra plants. It's the variegated variety, which I was so happy to get my hands on because it is beautiful and I love variegated varieties of it. One of the things I love so much about the zebra is just the texturing on it. So hopefully you guys can kind of catch how many ripples are on it. It's just kind of fun. And as you can tell, it's actually in bloom, which is so unreal because, I mean, it's just indoors. There's no greenhouse that it's living in. It's just right here. And the fact that it's giving off flowers is, well, I feel like pretty awesome. I have another succulent that I got at the succulent fair that I referred to earlier in this video. Some of the little stems or branches or leaves separated from the mother plant, the larger one back there. So I stuck them in the soil kind of around it, and I'm hoping that they will take root and grow. This, I believe, is called the Black Prince. I will leave the botanical name as with every other plant, as I'm sure you've noticed already. I will leave the name of it below. It has grown so tall, which is kind of funky. I thought it would be kind of like a whiter, stumpier little fella, but it's growing very tall and looks so beautiful. I was initially drawn to it just because of the neon green, black kind of alien vibes that it gave off. I was very intrigued by it, and it has done very well inside ever since I got him. Next to that, I have the snake plant moonshine variety, honey. It is a neon green, basically solid leaf stem. It has not grown very much at all, which is not surprising. It is a snake plant, and well, snake plants do not grow very quickly, but it has produced new leaves ever since it has come home. As you can tell, kind of like with right here, there's two little ones that are coming out, and there's one in that center that is also a new one. I do quickly just want to mention that this snake plant, as well as the cylindrica down there, do not need to be in such direct light like on the windowsill. However, they can handle it, but they are able to tolerate very well lower lights. Here's an original zebra plant. This is the one that started it all. I got this one almost a year ago. It has not grown at all. Like maybe one or two new leaves in that center, but other than that, like I don't even know if it's alive, honestly. Like obviously it's alive, but it's not giving me any sort of new life or new growth. I have no idea why, but I love it still, and I love the pot that it came in. It actually is one of my favorite pots that I have for my indoor plants. Now this guy I got on a road trip actually on my way back from LA. It is a tea tree bonsai. I saw it and I was like, well, I love tea and I love trees, so why not get a tea tree? Both my father and my partner thought that this guy was dead because during the winter it had no leaves and it looked so sad. But I was convinced that it would come back to life, and well, let's just say, I mean, you guys see the leaves, don't you? So the proof is in the pudding. This guy is alive and kicking and doing very well. But I got him on a roadside shop. This tiny little man was selling little bonsai, and it was, well, very cute. So last up on the windowsill is the fuchsia red earth star plant. It has, since you guys last saw it, actually given out two little buds. I'm not sure if you can see it, but they're just right there, dead center. They're so tiny, but they're still popping on out of there. So hopefully you guys are able to see it and enjoy that kind of progress that it has made. Over here we have the Trio Star. It's one of my favorite newer varieties. I've had my eye on it for a while just because it's so pretty with its cream and flamingo pinky green coloring. You probably notice a trend with my houseplants wherein I have a lot of kind of like cream, pinky green plants, and I'm just kind of a sucker for all of them. I love it. It's doing really, really well. No issues with it at all. Beautiful, very fun, cheery little plant. This guy, however, oh man, he's gonna get a video all on its own for my troublemaker plants. This little cutie patootie, spoiler alert, he's going on it. It's a sensitive plant. I am too sad to talk about it, so I'm gonna move on. Over here next to this sensitive plant, which I miss very much, please come back. I have a nerve plant, which is one of my easiest plants to take care of just because of how vocal it is. You do have to keep the soil pretty moist. It does like to be spritzed with water or at least have a higher humidity level, but overall it is so vocal, so easy to care for, and will spring back to life as soon as you water it. Behind there, I have a jasmine plant. I love the smell of jasmine, and so during February, the nurseries all around me started to supply a lot of indoor jasmine, which I didn't even know was a thing. It has not flowered ever since I first brought it home, but I have hopes that it will bloom once again because the office just smelled so fantastic when this was in bloom, and I love it so much. But I do think I'm gonna put some sort of thing for it to vine up or around inside of the container once I do repot it, just because it's looking a little bit frizzle-frazzled, you know? And the last plant that I have in the office is this beautiful variegated creeping fig plant. It's one of my newer plants that I got, and as soon as I saw it, I was extremely excited because I didn't even know that they made a variegated version of it. I just kind of drilled a hole in the ceiling and stuck him on up in there. So it is a beautiful addition that I am so happy to have, and hopefully you guys love it too. So that about wraps up the plant tour part 2. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up so that I know you liked it, as well as comment down below which was your favorite plant on this tour. If you'd like to see the part 3 of this series and you're not already subscribed, make sure to do so that you don't miss out. You can also feel free to follow me on my Instagram, wherein I post drawings, plant updates, and just stay in touch with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love the little schmoop squad that we've created, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.